All right, we got one more story for you. Drew Davis is a stand-up comedian based out of Nashville, Tennessee. He also hosts the Quarter Mile podcast and is a founder and producer of the Clean Comedy Collective. He also runs a comedian consulting brand called Quarter Mile Entertainment, and for fun, tells stories to nice people, which includes you. This is his fifth story at 10 by 9. Please welcome Drew Davis.
Have you ever had one of those nights where nothing went right and everything that could possibly go wrong did? This is the worst night of my life. The year was 2003, and I was a sophomore in high school. I just got my first part-time job as a bagger at Publix, and despite what you may have heard about being a front service clerk, it's not all glamour and caviar. I did not like that job, with one exception. Her name was Amanda. She was the love of my life. She was a whole year older than me, and had just moved to Nashville from Georgia, and was voted last year's Miss Teen Georgia. And that's all I needed to know she was my soulmate. So then, the end of another boring day at Publix, where shopping is a pleasure, but working is not. Amanda and I were clocking out, and she gets a phone call. Her sister was currently in the hospital, and she was gonna have her baby soon. "I'm on my way," is what I heard Amanda say. She hung up with her super cool flip phone. Her face was as white as a ghost, and I knew that meant something was bothering her because her face was usually Asian. So there's lies I should have kept to myself. I asked her what was wrong, and she said, "I need to go to Vanderbilt quickly, but I've never driven in downtown Nashville before. In fact, I've never driven downtown anywhere before." And then, as if God himself had dropped a golden opportunity in my lap, I quickly responded with all of the confidence of a hormonal 16-year-old in the presence of a beautiful 17-year-old. "That's okay. I'll drive. I drive all downtown all the time." That, by the way, was a lie. In fact, in my whole 6 months of driving, I had never driven downtown. But I wasn't gonna let troublesome things like facts get in the way of this rom-com that was starting between me and Amanda. And sure, she had a boyfriend, but where was he? Because I'll tell you where he wasn't. At Publix, about to drive her to her niece's birth. She was relieved and rushed to the parking lot. I was right behind her, but first I needed to make a phone call. I called my boss, and by that I don't mean my Publix store manager. I mean my short and terrifyingly Italian mother. I called and told her that I was going to run an errand with a coworker and will be home an hour or two later tops. None of that was really a lie, but I felt like she didn't need to know that I was going to be driving downtown for the first time ever with her probably future daughter-in-law, who's also a junior in high school. Moms just don't tend to understand when you hang out with older women in downtown Nashville. My mom was cautiously chill about it, but she did make a point to say, "Just remember, your curfew is at 10, and remember what we talked about. No more excuses. 10:01 is late, and there will be consequences." Now, for some context, in our house, late was late, and if Nina Davis said be home by 10, she didn't stutter. And I had already bent those rules twice. I found a loophole. It's called church. "Sorry, Mom, I would have been home on time, but we were in youth group and we were praying, and we were praying for Mrs. Bell, who I know you know has cancer. But you're right, next time I'll tell her I can't pray for cancer, I need to go home." Well, after the second time, my mom was very clear with me. I don't care if Jesus himself comes back. if it's 10 and you're not home, I'll show you a different interpretation of the rapture. So was I making a slight risk that night in the name of love? Yes. But that's what heroes do. So we get into my car, and remember in 2003, there were no phone GPSs, and real GPSs weren't that great, and me and Amanda's internal GPS did not exist. So yeah, we got lost. Really lost. I was so lost in her eyes. And the great conversation we were having. This was the first time me and Amanda had a chance to chat without the phrase, "Is plastic okay?" coming from her mouth. I learned a lot about her. I learned that life for her was more than just being a beauty pageant winner. She actually moved to Nashville because she had a slight drug problem, and she was in a rehab facility, and her family was hoping to get her a fresh start in a new city, and I heard all of that and said, I could fix her. As we drove and chatted, it became more clear that we were so lost in the middle of nowhere in downtown Nashville. We kept missing our turn and finding no landmark that people were talking about, and things just got worse and worse and worse. And at one point, Amanda, knowing that my mom was Mussolini's maiden, said, should we turn back now and make sure you get home in time to not be murdered? And I thought about it, and maybe it was that I was in the driver's seat of my Dodge Intrepid 2000, navy blue. And I thought to myself, I'd just seen all the 2 Fast and Furious movies that just came out. And I thought, Paul Walker never had to go check with his mom. And neither do I. So I said, no, let's go meet. And at this point, we're so late, we weren't going to meet her sister before the birth. We actually were going to, I was like, let's go meet your niece. And then we got lost for another few more hours.
Oh my God.
But we finally did. We made it to the hospital about 1 in the morning. I went ahead and asked them to show me where the morgue was. And we get to the elevator, and I remember so clearly how peaceful that elevator was, because we had been rushing, it was busy, noise, crazy night lights of Nashville, and we're just in this elevator where someone might have died in a few hours before, and it was so quiet. And at this point, Amanda, she thanked me. She said, thanks for being such a good friend. I couldn't have gotten here without you. You're so great. And all the normal stuff you get told when you're in the friend zone. And then I thought, this isn't the friend zone. This is our romantic comedy. I've seen the movies. I've watched a few episodes of Dawson's Creek. This is the moment. So yeah, I made my move. I moved in. I heard the music at the back of my head. I don't want to wait. Yeah, I moved in. And my lips felt her soft, very moisturized hand as she pushed me away. And she said, I still have a boyfriend, which is apparently a thing. And it went from the most peaceful elevator ride to the most awkward elevator ride. There's no coming back from that. You don't say like, well, just kidding. So we did get to the right floor. We saw our family and the new baby or whatever. Everyone was fine. It was very uncomfortable. And then we got back into the car. We drove back to the Publix parking lot. She got into her car, and then I continued on. For the first time that night, Amanda wasn't the female at the forefront of my thoughts. At this point, it was 3 in the morning. And I drive back to my house. And I walk inside our house. We go into the basement. And usually that's my dad's domain. And he's always ready to yell at me about something. But the lights are off. Because he's asleep. Which means he's not the one I'm dealing with tonight. I get to deal with the other beast of justice. And I start walking up the stairs. Feels like a million years when I'm walking up those stairs. And the light's on, which means she's home. And I know she's there. And I know she knows I'm here because moms can smell fear. And I walk in. And there she is. Her pink bathrobe and her curlers in her hair. And a look that looks like it could freeze the sun and even give Satan a shiver. And it was too late for any arguments or anything like that. She looked at me and she put her hand out. She said, I need your keys, and I need your phone, and I need your soul. She didn't say the last one, but I feel like that wasn't I feel like it was the same tone. And then I went home because I had to be at school in a few hours. So I went upstairs and went to my bed, and she said, we talk about this in the morning. And I'll be honest, that next morning, I don't remember much about the conversation. I remember there was a lot of yelling. I think I blacked out. And I was grounded for forever. This is actually my first outing. And that used to be the end of the story. But then a few years ago, I was at a car dealership, and I saw Amanda again. It had been a while since she didn't stay working at Publix for long, something because of drugs. But you know, she was still hot. She still had a different boyfriend. Still out of my league. But I remember that when we started talking, she says, "You remember that crazy night in Nashville when we got lost downtown?" I was like, "Yeah, I remember that. That was wild. It was also maybe the worst night of my life. I got in so much trouble." And she said, "That's interesting, because that was the first night I got to talk to like a real friend in Nashville, and it was the first night I met my niece, so it was kind of my best night ever." Thank you guys so